Hello everyone, welcome to the course Mental Health and Wellbeing, module number 4, that is Advanced Skill for Mental Health, and lecture 1, Dealing with Academic Pressures. So these are the learning objectives like identify and understand sources of academic pressure, apply strategies to manage academic stress, develop and strengthen study habits, implement time management and techniques, and practice self-confessions in academic life, utilize campus resources and support system. So we all know that in academic life we come across to some extent in somewhere kind of a pressures to get a good marks or demands from a high expectations from the parents. So in introductions we'll discuss about like what academic pressure is. Like it refers to the stress and anxiety resulting from academic demands, expectations and competitions. So this academic pressure is common among the students, those who are preparing for an exams, competitive programs or high stakes assessments. When this pressure is not managed properly, then these pressures can lead to burnout, anxiety and decreased performance in your academic journey. So based on the research by Dev et al. In 2015. So these are the sources of academic pressures, like from where these academic pressures develop. So high expectations from the self, sometimes like we from our side we impose kind of a pressures to get a good marks and to compete among the students. High expectation from the parents, peers and teachers, and then performance anxiety before exams and assessments. Competitions in schools, entrance tests, sometimes for example we start comparing ourselves with the other students to get a good marks. So this leads to some kind of a academic pressures. Time constraint and overload schedule, when you procrastinate the things by not doing the task, and then when there is a deadline, then sometimes it develop a kind of a academic pressures due to the limitations of time. Fear of failure is one of the main reasons for the academic pressure or disappointing the others, like the parents, teachers, your friends. So these are kind of a major reason, sources of the academic pressures. So here we'll discuss about how to identify this academic pressure, that how we'll come to know that someone is going through with the academic pressure. So there are some kind of indications then we observe among the students. These are like physical symptoms like fatigue, headache, sleep disturbances due to this pressure. Emotional symptoms like anxiety. Anxiety may be in various kind of forms, like some kind of physiological sensation like the increased heartbeat, restlessness, this kind of, and depression, sometimes low mood, sadness, restlessness and irritations. Behavioral symptoms like avoidance, we try to avoid, like for example facing the pressure provoking situations like the exams, or for example kind of a procrastinations and withdrawal self from the friends, societies, and then kind of absence from the classroom. Apart from that, like cognitive symptoms are there, difficulty in attention and concentrations, impaired decisions making, negative thinking pattern and poor judgment. So these are common symptoms that we usually seen when someone is going through with the academic pressure. So all these symptoms can significantly impact academic performance and overall well-being of the students. So how to handle those pressures from the outside? This handling expectations from the peers, parents and self. The major sources of academic pressures stems from expectations placed by the parents. So parents may place some kind of expectation like high academic demands, fear of disappointing them. For example, if you score a low score, then and they will feel embarrassment, they started like criticizing you. So this kind of pressures may you get from the parents. Peers, like for example competitive comparisons, we start comparing ourselves with the others. Yes, someone is getting a good mark, someone is getting place, but still I am not getting place, something like that. That creates some kind of inferiority complex again. Then kind of fear of social judgment, then self like to some extent we put ourselves some kind of pressure to self, like perfections, doing the things in a more perfect way, and then keep trying on doing this again and again, and this creates some kind of anxiety, irritations to the student, as well as like fear of failure from the self side, and then unrealistic setting of goals. So these are the common like expectation that placed by the parents, fears, and the self. So effective management of this pressure is essentials for the academic success as well as the well-being of ourselves. So these are the some kind of strategies that we can adopt to deal with this expectation or to deal with the pressure, like open communications with the parents, explain your goals and then limitations, what you can do, what you cannot do. Educate them about modern challenges like course load and then difficulty level of the course and then mental health, how these things are affecting to the mental health. Again, like collaborative planning with the parents, involve them in understanding your schedule, like a class routine, and then apart from that kind of physical activity, socialization, some kind of recreational activities. So involve in this process so that they can understand the difficulty as well as the strategies. Avoid comparisons. We know that every person has different abilities, aptitude, interests. So based on that, we have to focus, we have to give our best. So avoiding comparison is one of the important key aspects that we can handle pressure. Focus on your own growth instead of comparing ourselves with the others. Choose supportive peers, surround yourself with collaborative learners, those who supports you, those who talks with some kind of positive say discussion instead of engaging with some kind of negative kind of discussions. Promote healthy conversation, talk openly about struggle and wins. Activity scheduling. Activity scheduling is something kind of a making a daily day-to-day activity routine, like at what time, allotting the time schedule, at what time you will study, how much time you will study, how much time you will spend for a physical activity, how much time you will spend for a recreational activity. So this is part of the physical activity scheduling. Redefine success. Sometimes we focus only on grades and scoring good marks, and which leads to the academic pressure. So instead of doing that, if we start redefine the success in different way, like value learning and then personal development, then maybe the academic pressures may get reduced. So this strategies, the tackling academic uh, stress. So like this is important part of how to manage your academic pressures. So academic stress is a psychological conditions resulting from academic related pressure. So psychological conditions are like anxiety and then depression, low mood. These are due to because of academic stress you are developing this kind of a psychological conditions. The common causes include workload, pressure to perform good, time management issues. If you are having a difficulty in management time, then you may have this kind of academic stress, then lack of coping skills with the stress. Effective strategies are required for stress reductions and to maintain academic performance as well as well-being. So what is the difference between this academic pressure versus academic stress? So this academic pressure is like aspect, by definition academic pressure is expectations to perform and achieve. On the other hand, academic stress is a psychological response to academic challenges. The psychological responses, as I said, like some kind of emotional overwhelmed by emotional issues like anxiety, low feeling, and then kind of a depressed kind of feeling. Sources, this academic pressures, the sources may be external. These are like parents, peers, and cultures, or it may be internal. And the academic stress is sources is the internal interpretation of the pressure, nature, motivating or overwhelming sometimes, and mostly in academic stress it is unmanaged. Result can lead to stress, anxiety, and burnout. On the other hand, in academic stress affect performance, mood, and health. So how to tackle this academic stress? So this cognitive restructuring is one of the technique that we commonly use to tackle the academic stress. The cognitive restructuring is something that changing negative or irrational thoughts about academic challenges in a more balanced and rational way. Cognitive restructuring is a core component of stress reductions in CBT. It's 1995 back. So this, like in cognitive restructuring, the automatic negative thoughts, like for example, suppose you are having a automatic negative thoughts of I am failure or I am never succeed, then how you will change these negative thoughts in the restructuring steps. Like firstly, identify the automatic thoughts or automatic negative thoughts, like I am a failure. Here I am a failure is the automatic negative thoughts. To challenge these automatic thoughts, like ask yourself, is this 100% true? Have I ever succeeded in anything before? So replace these automatic thoughts in a more balanced thoughts, like I don't do well on these exams, but I can learn from my mistakes and try again. One failure does not define me. So this is like how to restruct, like cognitively restructuring. Mindfulness and relaxations, why it works, like reduce overthinking, physical symptoms and stress. So like you can practice mindful breathing, guided meditation, progressive muscle relaxations, yoga or light exercise. Healthy lifestyle habits helps you to reduce stress, like components. Adequate sleep at least 7 to 8 hours in a day if possible. If not, then at least try to sleep 6 hours in a day. Regular physical activity helps. Balance nutrition and hydrations. Limit caffeine, alcohol and digital overload. So we'll discuss this digital overload in the coming slides also. So this effective study habits is important because like this, when you are having a leg of study habits, then this develops a kind of academic pressure as well as academic stress. So effective study habits are essential for academic success, personal development and stress reductions. Like poor study habits leads to procrastination, poor concentration, retention and lower grades. So good study habits improves focus, efficiency, and academic resiliences. And then if you study in a regular basis or if you maintain study habits properly, then this reduce test anxiety or academic pressure. Enhance time management and concentration. Like 2008, Cruz and Kunsel, like in studies, they have said like students with structured study habits performs significantly better and academically. So these are some kind of techniques that you can adopt. These are the study habits, good study habit techniques. This is a Feynman technique, is a learning method where you simplify and explain the concept as if teaching it to someone with no prior knowledge. So this Feynman techniques is comprising with 4 steps. Step 1 is a pick and study a topic, any particular topic. Then step 2, explain the topic to someone like a child who is unfamiliar with the topic or understanding, and use simple language to understand them. Step 3, identifying any gaps in your understanding, and lastly step 4, return to the literature to understand in a better way. So this is a diagram, you can see it. Then this is another technique for study habit, SQ3R method. This SQ3R stands for like survey, question, read, recite and review. It is designed to improve reading comprehension, active engagement with the material and overall study efficiency. So like a survey, initially survey is like skim the text and find the main ideas, what can I learn from the text, and then you have to question yourself, think about what you already know about the topic, what do I hope to learn from the text, then read, look for answers that to your questions that you already written, recite, consider what you want to remember from the informations, recall. It's like reread your notes and link to the informations with your own experiences. And this is another technique, this is called the Cornell note making methods. This method is developed by the Walter Ponk at Cornell University, encourages active learning, critical thinking and effective study habits. This Cornell notes is a structure systems for organizing notes to facilitate review and self-assessment. It divides into 3 sections. The left hand is Q column and the right hand side is for column for taking notes, and the bottom section for summarizing the key points. So building a productive study environment, like you can choose a quiet and then well lit space, keep essential within reach, like your pencil, paper, water bottle, so that you don't have to get up from your sitting positions again and again. Avoid distractions like phone, social media. Try to put it on silent, or sometimes you have to disable your internet connection so that the distractions should be minimum. Use digital tools wisely. Environment effects and focuses and performance. Sometimes like this, environment thing that stimulus affects our focus and then attention and concentration. So we'll discuss about a time management technique for academic success. For example, I have discussed in the earlier slide also. Time management is a process of planning and exercising control over the time spent on specific academic tasks. So a student with a strong time management skill experiences like less academic stress, higher productivity and good CPI, better mental health and work-life balance, helps avoid procrastinations, improve academic performance, enables balance between study, rest and recreations, and then reduce anxiety-related deadlines exams. So we'll discuss about some techniques for effective time management. This is kind of we call the prioritization time management, and sometimes we call this the Eisenhower matrix, also known as the urgent important matrix. It's a time management tool used to prioritize tasks based on their urgency and importance. It divides into 4 categories: urgent and important, that you can see in the diagram. Important, urgent, like you have to do it now, and then not urgent but important, we can schedule it. For example, some task that is not, this is important but less urgent, then we can schedule it for after like 1 week, after few days. Then less important but and then less urgent, this is called like delegates. For example, instead of going from your side, instead of doing the tasks from your side, you can assign someone to do, which we call as a delegates. And then less important and then less urgent, this is not important, so we can delete this task from our routines. This is like SMART goal setting. So SMART goal setting is a framework for creating a well-defined, actionable and achievable objective. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant and time bound. So S is stands for like specific. Plan effectively with the specific targets in mind. Your goal should be specified and then unambiguous. The goal should be measurable. Track your progress and regulate along the way. You need to know that when you can achieve the goals. Attainable, the goal should be realistic goal and that are challenging but achievable on time. And relevant, ensure that the goal serves your purpose. Then timely, the goal should have a deadline so that it encourages you to work and to focus on your goal. This is like one technique. This is we call the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique was developed by Francisco in the late 1980s. Pomodoro technique is a time management method that breaks work into focus intervals, typically 25 minutes followed by a short break, typically 5 minutes after 4 such interval. Like Pomodoro, like a long break can be taken. It's typically the 15 to 30 minutes. If you see the diagram, then you can figure out, like for example, initially you have to choose a task and set a timer for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, this 25 minutes focus on the task without any distraction. After 25 minutes, take a break or enjoy for a 5 minutes break. Again, repeat 4 times, then takes a long break. After doing this Pomodoro technique 4 times consecutively, then take a long break. This long break can be like 15 to 30 minutes based on your conveniences. So avoiding is how to avoid these time wasters. Like for example, common time wasters factors are like, and then strategies to avoid, like social media, use app blockers, schedule uses time, like you can use like digital well-being, and then unstructured study time, stick to the timetable, avoid multitasking, over socializing, communicate boundaries, allocate leisure times, and then perfectionism, set time limit for the per task, aim for the progress. So importance of self-compassion in academic pursuits, like in highly competitive academic environment, students often experiences self-criticisms, which can lead to anxiety, burnout and low motivations. The self-compassion involves being kind to oneself during the times of failure or challenges in educally. It is important powerful tool. It is a powerful psychological tool that fosters the resilience, motivations and then academic success. So how to cultivate this compassion is like there are some strategies. For example, compassion journaling. You can write down your thoughts and journals, mindfulness meditations, then reframing negative self-talk as I discussed in the cognitive restructuring. You can, like, sometimes we tend to talk to ourselves like negative way. For example, I am not good enough, I am not doing good, and I cannot do this kind of. So you need to have awareness and try to change those negative self-talk in a more appropriate and then balanced way. And lastly, normalizing failure as a part of growth, and this is very common in journey of academics. So lastly, the utilizing campus resources for support in reducing academic stress. How these campus resources can help you in reducing the academic pressure or academic stress. So like academic stress is a common experiences in high performance environment like IITs and other institutes. Like there are multiple campus resources where effectively when you use those resources effectively, then this can be mitigate stress, build resilience and enhance our academic outcomes. But most of the time many students like underutilize those resources due to like stigma, what people will say if I go to like take this opportunity, if what like others people will tell if I go to the counseling service, something like that. And lack of awareness is one of the reasons that what are the common resources that is available in the campuses or the time pressure. So these are the common resources that is available mostly in the campus. For example, student counseling service is a psychological counseling, mental health workshops and a crisis support, academic advisors or mentors like personalized academic guidance, career planning and then academic mentors available, like peer mentors is there, those who will help in to some extent understand the difficult task or difficult subject matter. Faculty guides, in some institute this faculty guide is available, clarification of course material, academic feedback from the faculty, peer mentoring program, informal peer interaction like stress sharing, academic mentors, health centers like access to psychiatrists, general physicians and wellness programs. And apart from like there are clubs and then hobby groups where social engagement, social interactions and a sports club and then drama club, this kind of clubs are available in the campus. So if there is, then you can utilize those resources to reduce your anxiety and stress. But there are some common barriers in accessing those helps. One is like a stigma around seeking psychological support, fear of judgment, fear from peers or faculty. They think that if I go to the peers to ask about this particular subject, then what they might think about me. This kind of thoughts may develop and these barriers may develop to seeking from help. Lack of awareness about existing service, belief in self-reliances or fear of being perceived as weak. So encouraging help-seeking behavior, normalize the use of campus support as a strength, not as a weakness. Introduce these resources during the orientation program. Encourage faculty to refer students proactively. Promote student-led advocacy for mental health awareness. Then thank you, and these are the references.